Ford Island, it's a place of mystery. It was quite important to the ancient Hawaiians, known then as Moku Ume Ume. The island eventually came under control of the U.S. military. Most prominent and well known of its recent history is the attack on Pearl Harbor. Nowadays, those turbulent times seem far removed as Ford Island is now part of Joint Base Pearl Harbor-Hickam and home to dozens of military families. To visitors and new residents, Ford Island housing seems like a typical neighborhood. However, as you roam around the area, there are reminders that you are living on a military base rich in history. Although this makes Ford Island an interesting place in itself, life goes on for those who live there. For a visitor to Ford Island, you get the feeling like you're living in a small town. For kids that live there, finding things to do might be a challenge. The housing authority tries to make things as convenient as possible.
It's all right. There's a rope swing that people go and swing on, and there's a pool. There's a bunch of good skate spots, so it's fun.
I've lived on Ford Island for 2 years. It's like anywhere else, but you're trapped by water.
Whenever you want to go anywhere off of Ford Island, you have to go off of the bridge. And so the bridge itself is like a mile long, so it takes a long time to get anywhere. But it's also fun because we have our own island to live on, and there's a lot of wreckage from Pearl Harbor, so it's cool to go around and look around, so that's cool. It's good.
If they feel a little isolated now, it was even more so before the Ford Island Bridge was opened in 1998. Officially known as the Admiral Clary Bridge, it is a much more convenient way to travel than the ferry that brought people and goods to and from the island.
There was a ferry that was in operation, and I rode that ferry Monday through Friday, sometimes on Saturday and Sunday, back and forth. It was the only other means to get to Ford Island for the residents that lived there and for the people who worked there. I worked at the Naval Brig, which is a corrections facility.
Because the ferry was the only method of transportation, residents and workers there would have to plan their whole day around the ferry schedule. If you missed the last boat from the Honolulu side, you couldn't get back to the island until the next day. There are plans to expand the military housing on the island, along with other improvements to the military installation. However, as long as access is restricted and efforts continue to preserve its history through museums and memorials, living on Ford Island will continue to remain low-key. This is Sydney Chardella from Aliamanu Middle School, reporting for HIKI.